For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith DeMolder here for the very first edition of the Boys and Girls LA City Section Lacrosse Podcast, presented to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. It's the first edition, so we're just going to go over some quick rankings, some game balls, some highlights. We also have an interview on tap that'll be coming your way a little bit later. I was there yesterday at Westchester versus Hollywood. Hollywood with a dominant win over Westchester at Westchester, so we'll be talking with the Hollywood High head coach. But first, let's get to some top 10s. We know you guys always are looking for the top 10. Not a lot of games have been played from most of the LA City Section teams, but we have a top 10 as of what we have right now. A lot of non-conference going on. So here's the boys' top 10 to start it out. Palisades, number 1. El Camino Real, number 2. Birmingham, number 3. Hamilton, number 4. Wilson, then North Valley Military Institute, and then the Valley Academy of Arts and Sciences at 7. El Segundo at 8. And then Hollywood and Westchester at 9 and 10 to round it out. Just some opening notes. Palisades and El Camino Real, clearly the top two teams in the section. Palisades gets that top nod because of their in-section record right now. They've been playing outstanding. A lot of great goal scorers. We'll mention those in a second, but Palisades right now looking very dominant. And yesterday, watching Hollywood and Westchester, the 9 and 10 teams in the podcast top 10, Hollywood clearly has the better scoring ability. They had a couple of guys who went for 3 or 4 goals in the game, and they just have a really good defense that really showed in that second half against Westchester. And we interviewed the coach, head coach Orange, after the game. Let's look at that interview right now. For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith DeMolder here with head coach Ricky Orange, the head coach of the Hollywood Sheiks, and they just had a great 9-4 victory over Westchester. First of all, coach, congratulations on the win, and how'd it feel?
Thank you. I'm very proud. My second stint as coach of lacrosse. I never coached lacrosse before. It's my first year doing it, so I'm very proud of the kids. A lot of them are first-year players right along with me, so we're going to keep working and try to get better.
It's the first win of the season, and it's always great to get that first W. How does it feel? A lot of really great play out there.
Yes, I'm excited. The kids are excited. This is our second year playing lacrosse at Hollywood High School. I'm looking forward to us doing bigger and better things.
Now, I know that you guys have not as big of a roster as some of these other teams. Who are you guys looking out for in the LA City section to be a top competitor?
Oh, God. I hear Hamilton has a real good team. A lot of the teams on the South Bay area, they've been doing lacrosse for a pretty long time, so kind of think they got an advantage over us up in Hollywood. So, all we can do is keep practicing and try to get better.
Right, there's been some early season adversity. You get your first win today. What are you going to take from this win to try and improve on for the rest of the season?
Defense. Defense win ball games. I'm actually a football coach. I'm a defensive coordinator, so I'm all about defense. Of course, we got some players. Lucas is actually the coach. I'm filling in because he knows a lot about this game. He's been playing it a long time. So I kind of piggyback on him. I ask him a lot of questions about the game. I'm still learning, and it's great. We're having a good time, first win. We're just going to keep trying to go forward with that.
Awesome. And so are there any expectations on this season? I know you said it's your second year at Hollywood High with lacrosse, but are there big expectations, maybe even a ring potentially?
One game at a time. We just want to try to build a program, get more players out, get, lacrosse in Hollywood is new. So we're going to try to get more players out, learn the game. I'm not going to step back for it. I love it, and I'm going to keep learning.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the interview, and great job on the win today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So that was head coach Orange for Hollywood High School. We'll send it back to the podcast. And we thank head coach Orange for that interview, of course. Westchester, unfortunately, they're basically outmanned. Just have one guy on the bench, and they had one go out due to an unfortunate penalty, a hard hit from one of their players. So Westchester was playing essentially with a man down, all 11 guys out there on their squad. So it's a new program, same with Hollywood High. Just 2 years for Hollywood High, as you mentioned, as the coach mentioned in that interview. So a lot of new programs in the city section. All lacrosse is relatively new in the city section, but they're excited, they're ready to play, and they're hoping to get a ring Speaking of teams that are looking to get rings this year, it's all about Pali and all about El Camino Real. The game balls for the boys' side, they're going to have to go to two guys who have been scoring goals all year long. It's Machio Risone from Palisades, leads the section right now, 23 goals scored. And then Garrett Kim from El Camino Real, just one goal behind him. He has 22. So Machio Risone, if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, I apologize. But you as well as Garrett Kim, you get game balls from me. Now let's talk about the girls' side. We'll get to the top 10, and we'll also have some game notes from that game. Birmingham played a very tough Simi Valley team. They eked out a win in that one. But first, let's talk about the top 10. It's going to be Palisades, Birmingham, Valley Academy of Arts and Sciences, El Camino Real, Hamilton, Hollywood, North Valley Military Institute, Roosevelt, Cleveland, and then Fremont. Again, same thing with the boys' side. Not a lot of teams have been playing yet, but this week they'll start games, next week as well. So we'll have all those updates for you on next week's edition of the podcast. But a big game coming up this week, Birmingham versus Palisades. The number 1, number 2 teams in Pali, just like the boys' side, very good team as well. But looking at some of these other players for Birmingham, they've got one of the best goal scorers in the section, Zella Bedoyan. 9 goals for Birmingham, including multiple goals against Simi Valley. She seems to, whenever she gets the ball, just unchallenged, does not drop it very often. When she takes it right to the crease, usually it results in a goal. But Hamilton right now, McKenna Carter, kind of one of these teams not really known for lacrosse, but in recent years they've really been lighting it up. But McKenna Carter right now leading the section, unreal, probably Player of the Year candidate, 28 goals scored. Unbelievable, and those numbers are just going to go up come league play. 9 goals against Palisades. Unfortunately, Hamilton with a loss in that one, but if there's a team that could challenge Palisades for that girls' title, it's certainly going to be Hamilton. So this girls' top 10, a lot of talent for sure. Birmingham, they're just number 2. They had a great game against Simi Valley. I liked what I saw from their zone defense, keeping a lot of those Simi Valley scores outside, keeping them on the perimeter. And Birmingham, if they're able to keep this stretch going, better watch out for a ring. So because it's our first section podcast, we always have to do some picks. And this week we just have one game because it is the marquee matchup of the week. Birmingham taking on Palisades from the girls' side. And for me, I'm going to have to pick Birmingham. I've seen them in person, Palisades. We know they can score goals for sure. They've been tested against these city section teams, but what I saw from Birmingham, their defense, really key. They had, Simi Valley had a really good score. They kept her at bay. They kept the penalties to a minimum, and I think right now, Birmingham, they have the edge just because of their momentum factors, so we'll see what happens. But for all of us here at the Southern California Prep Insider and the U.S. Marine Corps, I'm Keith DeMolder saying so long for the first edition of the LA City Section Lacrosse Podcast. Make sure to check out Twitter for some updates, and check out next week's podcast for sure. Thanks so much for watching.